What's up all you guys, welcome back to the channel. Fat Joe. Fat Joe's been clouding off Tupac on the Fat Joe show recently, with a lot of guests coming in. It all started off with one time they talked about Tupac and Fat Joe got all super hyped. Fat Joe was grabbing his bald head and moving the chair back, saying, I got Tupac stories, I got Tupac stories. Fat Joe claims that he met Tupac at Jack the Ripper in Atlanta, Georgia, back in the day, probably 1994, when Tupac had an incident with the ATL cops. Fat Joe claimed that Tupac ran up on him with a hoodie. He was with another bunch of East Coast rappers chilling, posted outside, and Tupac came with 2 Glocks, you know how Tupac did, and scared the East Coast rappers and said, what's up? He noticed it was Fat Joe and said, what's up, crack? That's apparently Fat Joe's story when Fat Joe didn't blow up around this time. He was another low-key, lower Nas level, lower than that rapper at that time. Big Pun blew up in like 1998 with Capital Punishment. Fat Joe was out. Fat Joe had all the Puerto Ricans. He had all the Latin Kings. He didn't hold Pac down in jail. That's hilarious. The story's being spun that Fat Joe held Pac in jail, in prison, when he was up in Rikers Island for that case. Napoleon comes out and certifies it. Napoleon's just looking for clout. They're all looking for money. It's all over Pac's legacy. They're not going to ride for him, especially after 25 years. It would literally take Tupac Ghost to walk in the door to shake these guys up. They should leave Pac alone and let him rest in peace. Fat Joe's making up hilarious stories. Right now during this epidemic, rappers aren't doing shows. Fat Joe came out with the bright idea to start this thing up. A semi-podcast, make interviews like Vlad TV does. He's learning from other Tupac channels and everybody else on YouTube making hip-hop documentaries. Fat Joe, look at the original Fat Joe right here. Keep saying the gangsta Fat Joe, the back then gangsta Fat Joe, not this Fat Joe, the lean back Fat Joe. He blew up a lean back. Look at his look on his face. This Fat Joe wouldn't talk about Pac. This Fat Joe was all about himself. Respected. Bronx, BX, the birthplace of hip hop. Now he's yapping about Tupac. He was gonna do an album with Biggie Smalls. He was Biggie Smalls' buddy. Then he's saying he held Pac in jail. He held him down. Pac would have said that. Pac said he was having a hard time with the guards. He was having a hard time. He wanted out. Why would he want out if he's being held down? Apparently he wasn't even being held down. He was probably being disrespected by the Latin community at that time. Pac being used for clout on these guys' show. Busta Rhymes just showed up. Had all these Pac stories. Talking about a 25-year-old Pac. This is 25 years later. 50 years old, these rappers. Fat Joe's getting exposed. Fat Joe, you gotta stop this. Mr. Flo Joe, Mr. Joey Crack. You're OG. You gotta stop this clout. Bad record label deals. Bad stuff. Pac wouldn't be rapping at 50. Look at Fat Joe's mean mug on his face with his chain. He has this big chain and this big house, all this network, but he's talking about Pac for clout. On the Fat Joe show. Not even a sick design, just a regular show. He needs to upgrade, but Fat Joe is definitely with New York. He's definitely with the big time guys like Haitian Jack. We've seen Fat Joe talk with other Brooklyn artists like Papoose of how NYGs are the best. Does not respect the West Coast as much. I guess he doesn't know about how it works out there with the gang culture, because it would be a real issue if Pac was alive. Now Fat Joe said a bunch of other stuff. Where's Mo Preem? He's not gonna say anything. Edie Amin, he's shot right now with Fat Joe certifying the story how he held Pac down, how he met Pac at Jack the Ripper, how Pac met him one time and said, yo, what's up, Joe? I don't even believe these stories. Pac didn't say anything about Fat Joe too much. I don't even know if they're friends or even if they saw each other. Pac was always on the move. And Fat Joe was pretty local at the time. Why are they using Pac's name for clout? Every time fatjoe's holding his head, thinking he's crazy, saying all this stuff. He was on Vlad TV. He's already been exposed multiple times. I don't know why he's doing this about Tupac, Machiavelli Don, the GOAT, the greatest rapper that ever lived, Thug Life, all the way to the Outlaws, all the way to Death Row Records. What do you guys think about fatjoe clouting? Talking about every guest. Tell me a Pac story. Tell me a Pac. Whoa, Pac was like this. Whoa. Stop. Please stop, Mr. Joe. Leave a comment down below what you guys think. And make sure to like and subscribe, guys, for your latest news.